Thanks for staying with us. It's World Read Aloud Day today, which highlights the importance of reading aloud and sharing stories. The legendary storyteller Gcina Mhlophe has 5-minute stories during this extended school break. Welcome news for many parents. Let's speak to her now and find out more about what she's doing, not only to mark this day, but her work in the spoken word and in poetry and in reading and storytelling. Gcina, so good to have you with us once again today. Tell us about what you're doing to mark this World Read Aloud Day and how you are giving parents a much needed break.
Yeah, thank you so much. Indeed, it is World Read Aloud Day. And today I've been talking a lot about my first book ever. It's called The Snake with Seven Heads, published with Scotterville Publishers many years ago in 1989. That's a long time, hey?
Certainly.
So I've been reading excerpts from this book, but also I pulled out one of my favorites. This one is an adult read, and it was edited by Mam Loretta Ngobo, and it is called Prodigal Daughters. This book is amazing. Let me just read you a quick excerpt from what she says. Just hours before she died, I had the privilege of spending time with Thokozile Mazuluchane. When we spoke together about our lives as young girls at Fort Hare College, our long years together in exile, and our writing. Her funeral on the 29th of December 2009 in Johannesburg provided the opportunity for many women from exile to come together to mourn and celebrate the life of an admired and long-standing friend. We need to read not only to children, but to one another, to remind each other about amazing names that are not often mentioned. I don't know when last did you hear the name Loretta Ngobo being mentioned. I don't know when last did you hear Umamu Thokozile Chane, another heavyweight, and Mamu Brigelia Bam, they are still alive. So these are people we should be talking about, and we should be reading books for children and for our sisters and brothers and for each other. And so this time, it's been a very difficult one. This long year of COVID-19, lockdown and solitary spaces. Remember, solitary confinement during political years, but it's another confinement now with all the mourning and the pain and the loss that we've been dealing with. But under COVID-19, I've also been reading for children.
And I wonder, Gcina, what is the difference between reading silently to yourself and reading out loud?
Reading silently to yourself, you read at your own pace and then you go back and what. But when you're reading out loud, there's something as well about the speed of your reading, because not everybody reads fast or you don't read too slowly. It depends on how you read and what language it is. The good thing about reading out loud is that occupying the space around you. Another thing about reading out loud is reading to another person. And I always say, when you read to somebody that you love, somebody you care about, your voice is carried to the ear and straight into the heart, because you matter and they matter to you. And that's something special. And teachers, when they read out loud to the children, there's a collective congregation around one book. And when we do that in the homes, again, we congregate around one book. It's like that central fireplace in the long ago times when we were telling stories around the fire. So we repeat, the book becomes the fireplace.
The book becomes the fireplace. And I just wonder, when you gather around the fireplace, the reading that takes place now, whether it's parents reading to their children or peers reading to each other, is there enough reading that's done in our indigenous languages?
I think there's a major shortage in terms of people being able to read in indigenous language. And also the difficulty is that there's a lack of translations or books that are written originally in our indigenous languages, whether it's Chivenda or Setswana, Sexhosa, isiZulu, and we need to do more of that. And when you have a book that you really, really love in a particular language, talk about it. I love good gossip. Huh? When there's a book you love, talk about it. And when you do that, you make other people curious and they say, I've never heard of that title. Where do I find it? And some people are recent grandmothers and they get excited. I want that book. My child is only, 2 months old, but I want to buy that book and keep it for them.
Mam
So
Gcina,
it is up to us.
Mam Gcina,
Serve
thank
and
you so
celebrate.
much for that and that beautiful reminder. It already paints images of the book becoming the fireplace. May you continue doing the great work of just inspiring nations and inspiring generations through your work. Thank you so much today.
We continue to celebrate the word.
Thank you, Mama.